Presented by Aditya Birla Group, Big in Your Life. Co-presented by Star Health Insurance, the health insurance specialist. Co-presented by JK Tyre Ranger Series, Stay Wild at Heart. Powered by NECC, Sunday ho ya Monday, Roz Khao Ande.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today, your primetime destination news. Newsmakers talking points Wednesday night. The big story tonight, resort politics are back. That's right, our MLAs seem to be up for sale ahead of the Rajya Sabha elections. That contentious issue is coming up in a moment. Are our MLAs simply up for sale as they hide in resorts ahead of the Rajya Sabha elections? But first, the 9 headlines at 9 tonight. The Al-Qaeda now dives into the Nupur Sharma prophet remark controversy. Terror group threatens suicide attacks in Delhi, Mumbai, UP and Gujarat. Security for Nupur Sharma has already been tightened. The race for the Rajya Sabha polls on Friday intensifies. BJP, Congress, Maharashtra Vikas Agadi pack off their MLAs ministers to luxury resorts, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh and Maharashtra to avoid them getting poached. India Today's news break confirmed. Delhi police names gangster Lawrence Bishnoi as mastermind of the Sidhu Moosewala murder. 5 more shooters identified. Shocking revelation in the Hyderabad gang rape case. State government vehicle was used to rape the minor. Telangana Home Minister blames parents and mobile phones for the rape. The son of an AIMIM MP is under the scanner. 5-year-old child tied up and left on the roof for not doing her homework in Delhi. Kid screams, writhing in pain. Child rights panel promises action. Shocking PUBG murder sends shockwaves across India. Juvenile shoots mother to death for barring him for playing the game. Reserve Bank of India hikes repo rate by 50 basis points to 4.90% amidst rising inflation. Second straight hike by RBI in 2 months. India records a 40% rise in COVID cases overnight. Maharashtra, Kerala, Delhi, Karnataka and Haryana register the maximum infections. 5,200 plus cases in 24 hours. But experts say this is not the 4th wave. India's women cricket captain Mithali Raj brings the curtain down to her 23-year illustrious career, retires, seeks blessings for a second innings. But first tonight, the countdown to the Rajya Sabha polls has begun, and the story that's breaking at the moment, more MLAs are being taken to various resorts across the country. Just take a look at some of the pictures that we are going to give you in a moment of MLAs being taken to hotels where they are now staying in luxury hotels. From Rajasthan to Maharashtra to Haryana, our MLAs are playing cricket, as you can see. Some of them are swimming. They are all in luxury resorts across the country where they are being given, we are told, 5-star treatment. So MLAs from across the parties, but particularly the Congress MLAs in Rajasthan and the Congress MLAs from Haryana, Shiv Sena MLAs in Maharashtra, as well as BJP MLAs have all been taken to 5-star hotels. In each of these states, there is a fight to the finish. Why is this so? Because the stakes are high. Even media barons have entered this battle this time for the Rajya Sabha, and money power, sabse bada rupaiya, could decide if there is cross voting. Before we go to our special guests, take a look as why the India's House of Elders, the Rajya Sabha, also finds itself in the grip of a power battle.
Music, yoga, swimming and cricket. That was Rajasthan's Social Welfare Minister Tikram Juli doing to a half volley what Sachin Tendulkar does. In the pavilion are Water Resources Minister Mahendrajit Singh Malviya and MLA Amit Chachan closely following the proceedings and keeping tab on the score. Now the real scoreboard. The Congress has 108 MLAs. It can win 2 seats but needs 15 more to ensure Pramod Tiwari makes it to the Rajya Sabha. The party is facing a stiff challenge from BJP-supported media baron Subhash Chandra, who's stealing runs in singles and doubles. What it means is that MLAs of the Congress and BJP are locked up in luxury resorts in Rajasthan, where they're being kept busy and entertained while the battle of nerves continues. The face-off will cost the two parties quite a sum. The Congress has booked 150 rooms at the Taj Aravali in Udaipur. The room rates there range from 25,000 to 78,000 rupees per night. The BJP has booked 60 rooms at the Devi Ratan Resort in Jaipur, where rooms cost 10,000 rupees per night. The story is the same in Maharashtra. The Shiv Sena, NCP and Congress have put up MLAs at luxury hotels. The Maharashtra Vikas Agadi and the BJP are in a face-off to win an additional seat in the Rajya Sabha. In Haryana, the Congress is sweating it out to ensure safe passage for Ajay Maken. It has air-dashed its MLAs to Chhattisgarh. Though the party has the numbers in the assembly, it fears poaching by independent candidate Kartikeya Sharma, who's backed by the BJP, and Dushyant Chautala's JJP. The political party's luxury break comes in the backdrop of pressing crises like price rise, unemployment and water shortage. Those issues and the Aam Aadmi will just have to wait. With Devankur Vadhavan in Jaipur, Bureau Report, India Today.
And as the Rajya Sabha election pot continues to boil amidst this tug-of-war that's taking place, my first newsmaker is the Congress leader and senior leader from Rajasthan, Sachin Pilot, joins me. Appreciate you joining us, Mr. Pilot. The big question, Subhash Chandra, the independent candidate, Z Media Baron, has already suggested to Sachin Pilot that you switch over, that you leave the Congress and join hands in a sense with the BJP and Subhash Chandra in this Rajya Sabha election. Are you in any position to think about that?
What I do think about Rajdeep is the fact that as a candidate, even though he is said to be independent, all his nomination papers were filed by the BJP MLAs. So he's primarily a BJP candidate. But I do think that he must be led up the golden path and now left high and dry. That's why he's desperately trying to reach out to whoever he can. But rest assured, he will not make it to Rajya Sabha because the Congress has 3 candidates that Mrs. Gandhi has fielded from Rajasthan, and all those 3 have sufficient numbers and more to return to the upper house. I think there is no doubt in anyone's mind that the 3 candidates that we have fielded in Rajasthan will secure a victory, and a handsome victory at that.
The reason I'm asking you this is his exact quote of Subhash Chandra was, "This is an opportunity for Mr. Pilot to take revenge or to give a message. If he misses this opportunity, he will not be able to become Rajasthan Chief Minister till 2028. He's actually urging you to rebel. He's saying, Sachin Pilot, rebel and break your party.
Well, I think he must really be desperate to have made those comments. He knows very well that there is no chance that he will make it to the upper house. So the Congress party has fielded candidates and we have all been elected on the Congress symbol. So all of our votes and the independent MLAs who support the government will vote for the 3 candidates. And I suggested to him yesterday itself, Mr. Chandra, I told him that politics is not like making a TV series. No, you can't pick and choose who does what. This is a serious business and the numbers speak and reflect who will get elected. So we have 3 candidates. We have more than enough votes supporting our 3 candidates, and no matter how much they try or the BJP tries, they will not be able to dislodge that figure, and we'll get more than anticipated votes when the votes are cast on 10th of June.
But let me ask you this in conclusion. If you're so confident as you're sounding at the moment, why are all the Congress and independent MLAs in the Aravali Resort, Taj Resort in Udaipur virtually under lock and key? If you're sounding so confident, then they shouldn't be under lock and key. Clearly, you are worried that some of them may cross vote. There's all talk of money power when it comes to Rajya Sabha elections.
Not at all. First of all, nobody's under lock and key. All the MLAs are together because they felt that they should not be under undue influence from anybody. And as you know, the BJP and the government are quite famous for using sources and agencies and pressure to get the MLAs to switch sides. That's not going to happen. It's unfortunately become the norm for most parties in most states for these elections. I don't think it's something that we should be proud of, but unfortunately, because of the circumstances created in the last 4 or 5 years, the ecosystem has become such that you have to do this, and every party in every state is forced to do this.
One minute, what are they doing?
Together because
you're
we
saying
don't
they're
want
not
influence.
No, so why are they in a resort? If they're if they're not under lock and key, if they are free to move around, why keep them in a resort? Clearly, you're worried that the other side could have inducements and your MLAs could be susceptible.
Rajdeep, you may not be informed, but the BJP has put all its MLAs in a hotel in Jaipur. So no one has been pressurized to be there. They've all voluntarily gone out of their own free will to be together so that no undue influence can be exerted on them. I think they have the right to be together. You and I can't stop them. So it's not under pressure and there's no lock and key. They're all together because they want to be together. And the BJP may try and say that, people will come out, etc. But on voting day, you will find that not just in Rajasthan, but also in Haryana and Maharashtra, wherever the BJP is so-called supporting independent candidates, which is basically a proxy for their own candidates, they will not meet because the numbers are very clear. There's no confusion. The MLAs have to show their votes and cast it. So I think anyone who believes that they can have MLAs switch sides is living in a fool's paradise.
No, but do you agree that the overall system is such that today inducements are all over? We are told that the going rate for some of these MLAs to cross vote is running into several crores. Is that true?
I think we have to find a way where the elections are more transparent and the rules are such that there is no scope for any such thing that to happen, because the upper house is meant for the house of the elders. They can go and propagate the story of the states and debate about issues in the upper house. But what's happening in the last few years, it's not something that's healthy for our democracy, and I think we must find a more transparent way where the regulations are very clear. And I think people don't expect all this to happen. This has been the trend in the last few years, where you want cross-voting and you want MLAs to switch sides, etc. We should be making policy and debating about what's going on in the states. But unfortunately, because of the last 5 years, 6, 7 years of circumstances being created, one is forced to take these steps. No one does it voluntarily, but we know what has happened before and we can't take a chance. Therefore, every party is forced to do these things in every state.
Have you been rung up by Mr. Subhash Chandra offering you something special? That you seem to be a soft target because they are saying 2 years ago you rebelled against Mr. Gehlot's leadership. So Sachin Pilot is vulnerable. He and his supporters can switch over. This is the moment to switch.
Rajdeep, in fact, I have offered advice that he should retire before polling, because it's better to side with humility and say, well, I've conceded defeat, as opposed to getting humiliated on March 10th, on June 10th. So one can say, obviously, when a candidate is contesting, he or she has to say they're winning, right? They can't say I'm fighting to lose. But we know the numbers are stacked up against them. It's inevitable. And yet they want to go out there and try and create a confusion where none exists. So Rajasthan, be rest assured, we are winning all the 3 seats. Haryana, Mr. Makan will pull through. Mrs. Gandhi and Rahul ji have given us those candidates. And it is a responsibility of all MLAs in the Congress and supporting parties to make sure that these candidates win the elections. And so that the record is set straight. All this confusion, all this commenting statements, I think people need to be told. And I think June 10th will be a clear reflection of what was said and what really happened.
Fair enough. You're in a combative mood. That's the way perhaps politicians should be. But I appreciate your joining us, taking the time off there, Sachin Pilot. Thank you very much. And joining me now is another newsmaker, because remember, there is a lot happening in the Rajya Sabha elections in Maharashtra as well. Shiv Sena MLAs are in hotels across the city. Joining me now, Priyanka Chaturvedi, Rajya Sabha MP of the Shiv Sena. Priyanka Chaturvedi, your government has been in power for more than 2.5 years. And look at what is happening. Your MLAs are virtually locked up in hotels, in resorts. I mean, it obviously means you have no faith in your MLAs. You fear they will cross vote. So what do? Lock them up in 5-star hotels where they seem to be having a rather good time.
Actually, we have 100% faith on our MLAs. What we want to expose is how Bharatiya Janata Party can resort to anything to try and spoil the atmosphere of a state which is running in able hands of Shri Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray. It has been a long-standing tradition in Maharashtra that whether you are in the opposition or you are part of the government, you will send MPs to the Rajya Sabha unopposed. Bharatiya Janata Party has broken that tradition without having numbers in their hand. What they're trying to do is promote the entire idea of horse trading, which we have seen across Rajya Sabha elections where they do not have the numbers, they try to indulge into corruption. Isn't this corruption where you're trying to buy and sell MLAs and their votes?
No, no, but,
so this is the unfortunate part.
So
the bigger question should be
why are
asked
your
of the Bharatiya
MLAs so
Janata Party.
susceptible? Why are your MLAs so susceptible to this horse trading that you have to keep them in hotels? If you had faith in them, you would know that they cannot be bought. Shiv Sena under Balasaheb Thackeray would have been confident that their MLAs cannot be bought. But today, it seems the MLAs are perhaps purchasable in some way.
You know, Rajdeep, those are kind of charges being made against Shiv Sena ever since Maha Vikas Agadi came about. Every day there's a new prediction that Maha Vikas Agadi will fall, the alliance is not getting along, and all these kind of rumors. I will not get into this. Now, talking about resort politics, aren't BJP MLAs holed up in Rajasthan? Aren't they also being kept in Maharashtra? It's working. They have introduced the concept of resort politics because Bharatiya Janata Party does not respect the constitutional morality, does not have the constitutional morality, nor does it respect the democratic principles of the country. So if they are, trying to use money power to get in their candidates, we've seen this earlier in Haryana too, when Subhash Chandra Goyal got elected. We saw that happen in Gujarat elections too, when Ahmed Patelji was almost dismissed as an MP. So all this has also ensured, and we have believed, that everyone has to fight back this kind of constitutional irresponsibility coming from the BJP, and we need to teach them a lesson that money cannot buy you votes and money cannot buy you power. So this is something that we as opposition will need to fight back, and we will need to push back this culture.
You know, it's interesting you're mentioning resort politics. It started in the 1990s when Shankar Singh Waghela actually rebelled from the BJP and went to Khajuraho. So it spreads across party lines. But the point is, Maharashtra was, as you said just now, a state where normally these things were decided by consensus. So why couldn't Uddhav Thackeray and Devendra Fadnavis settle their personal ego battle and resolve these issues? This could have been resolved very easily.
Let me tell you, there is no ego as far as Shiv Sena is concerned. We had reached out to the BJP, the Maha Vikas Agadi senior leaders had reached out to the Bharatiya Janata Party. But what do you do with a person who's so adamant at wanting power at any cost that he will take oath of office at 5 a.m. in the morning to be to get a world record in being the shortest tenure chief minister in his second term? And that is Devendra Fadnavis for you. So if you are trying to create a situation like that, and be rest assured that we fought back in 2019 and we showed them that this is not how politics works, how constitutional morality works or democracy works. We taught them a lesson then, we will teach them a lesson now. Perhaps this is the first fight which they have introduced. There are going to be multiple such battles which we will win because we have the support of the people, we have the strength of Maha Vikas Agadi, and we have work to show to the people of the state that this is what we are doing and this is what BJP is indulging in.
You know, more than 100 MLAs are today in five-star hotels as we speak. My colleague Kamlesh Sutar informs me that some of the hotels are priced at about 17,000 rupees a night. Where are you getting all this money from? I mean, is there a sense of desperation on both sides, on the BJP to win this election and you to protect your turf? So there is desperation where money doesn't matter. It is now about money power.
No. It is not. Money power is what the Bharatiya Janata Party is trying to use to try and show that opposition is weak, opposition cannot win, and also through its, using of central agencies, etc., creating an atmosphere where they try to bully into submission. But Maharashtra has not been a state which will be bullied into anything or by anyone. So to be able to teach them a lesson, we will need to be able to ensure that when the time comes, when the voting happens, we teach them an emphatic lesson where they do not attempt to do this ever again. So this is what that is extremely important for us. And at times, when you need to set back the moral compass, I know it's your favorite word about the moral compass, so I will reiterate that word. When you need to set the moral compass right, you need to take a few decisions, and we are doing what we have to do, because that's what constitutional morality is all about. Teach them a lesson in constitutional morality.
Constitutional morality? Who has the moral high ground? We'll wait and see. But for now, Priyanka Chaturvedi for joining me. Thank you very much. Is the questions that every law-abiding citizen of this country must. Are our MLAs up for sale? Is money power now deciding even Rajya Sabha polls? Should disqualification laws be made more stringent? Just some of the questions we'll raise on our face-off now, because Gaurav Bhatia, the BJP's strongman spokesperson with us, Pawan Khera, the Congress's strongman spokesperson with us. Appreciate both of you joining us on the face-off. Gaurav Bhatia, you might have heard the BJP is being accused of playing dirty. You have money, power, agency bhi hamare saath hai, paisa bhi hamare saath hai, is what the opposition accuses the BJP of. Your response, are you using money, power and agency power to target the opposition and win the Rajya Sabha elections, sir?
राजदीप, पैसा तो महावसूली अघाड़ी के पास है. They are the ones where the former Home Minister, Mr. Anil Deshmukh, gave a target of 100 crore to Sachin Waze to collect per month for the Mahavasuli Aghadi. But the point that you've raised, and I was hearing the earlier spokespersons, I would like to raise very basic questions. The first is, if there is any charge against our party, in Maharashtra, the government is theirs. The police, why is it not acting? They should act as per law, arrest people who are indulging in horse trading. But the reality is different, and I'll tell you. Let me first cite the example of Rajasthan. And this doesn't come as a sarcasm, but I genuinely feel people like Pawan Khera are very worthy to be in the Rajya Sabha. I read his tweet, but it's a genuine compliment to my friend, not sarcasm, Pawan Bhai. You tell me, Rajdeep, 6 BSP MLAs, did they not defect to Congress? They did, right? Was it money power? Was it muscle power? Was it influencing coercion? And these 6 BSP MLAs now have been issued a whip by the BSP to vote in favor of an independent candidate. For Maharashtra, let me give you the numbers. The Congress party and the Mahavasuli Agadi in Maharashtra, by fielding an additional candidate, is short by 27 votes. 27, mark that number. So Rajdeep, where will they get this number of 27? In Rajasthan, they are short by almost 15 votes. I'm asking, where will they get these 15 votes from? Because the calculation is simple. You cannot have new MLAs. So these are the questions you should be asking to the Congress.
I'll ask them, but I say, sir, you didn't answer my question. You are supporting. No, 1 minute now, sir. You did not support the. You are supporting an independent candidate in Rajasthan who's a media baron. You are supporting an independent candidate in Haryana who's a media baron. And effectively, you are urging independent MLAs or floating MLAs to cross-vote. I asked you a question. Are you denying that the BJP is using money power, agency power to get MLAs to switch side? Yes or no? And then I'll go to Pawan. I'm asking you a direct question. Are you telling me the BJP is not using money power? You're not backing people who have money power in this election?
You know, Rajdeep, on a lighter note, you should not be having any grudge against media barons, because I think the most powerful media baron is you. You are supported by so many people.
Arre baap re.
As long as the candidates that we field.
अरे सर कहाँ सुभाष चंद्र गोयल, कहाँ सुभाष चंद्र गोयल, कहाँ कार्तिकेय शर्मा और कहाँ एक पत्रकार? These are barons, sir. These are barons. My point is, you are not answering my question. Have you propped them up because you know they have the money power?
You interrupted me. I said this on a lighter note.
Yes.
Okay. So, Rajdeep, I said that on a lighter note, but I will answer. For Rajasthan, let me tell you, we fielded one candidate. We still have 30 spare votes. It's not your case that we fielded an extra candidate and the number of votes that we have to support the last candidate are lesser than the votes that the other party, the Congress in this case, has. So under the preferential voting system, it is the party which has the spare votes that would win. We decided to support an independent candidate. That is not equivalent to horse trading. Rather, the question that I asked on BSP MLAs defecting to Congress, I am asking about Maharashtra. I can also tell you, in Haryana, there are 2 Congress MLAs that are missing and they are not with the party. You know the reason? Because they feel that the party is fielding outsiders and they are not happy with the decision that has been taken over a video conference. So when they have their own problems, why should anybody interfere?
Okay, let me ask that. No, let me
Congress. The Congress needs to sort it out.
You know, that's a question, Pawan Khera, which is a good one to start with you, because the fact, Pawan Khera, is the BJP is fishing in the troubled waters of the Congress. They know that in Rajasthan, in Haryana, there have been restive MLAs. The BJP is fishing in troubled waters in Maharashtra because there are Shiv Sena MLAs who are allegedly restive. If your MLAs cannot have to be taken to resorts to ensure their loyalty, why blame the BJP?
Rajdeep, first of all, I thank my worthy colleague Gaurav Bhatia. And I'm sure, Gaurav, you yourself are worthier to go to the Rajya Sabha rather than GVL or Jafar. But maybe your turn will come with me. We'll go to the Rajya Sabha together, I'm sure. I don't know which party will you be in, but I'll be in the Congress. Rajdeep, I must tell you, it's very easy for you, to say, "Aapne resort mein kyun rakha?" I'll read out 2 lines from the book written by Mr. Shanta Kumar, a tall BJP leader. His book called Nij Path Ka Avichal Panthi. I don't know if you've read it. I'm reading it currently. Only and only a power-based party. BJP is now only and only a power-based party. This is not me. Mr. Shanta Kumar is saying this. And is getting involved in the buying and selling of MLAs. I wonder, leaders such as Deen Dayal Upadhyay are probably shedding tears wherever they may be. This book came out earlier this year. It's a brilliant book. I recommend Gaurav Bhatia should also read it and send a copy to Mr. Narendra Modi also, unless he's already read it. This is coming from a senior leader of the BJP. So, Rajya Sabha, Rajdeep.
Is this the answer, Rajdeep?
Let him reply.
I didn't interrupt you, Gaurav.
Go ahead.
We can fight in Rajya Sabha together. No, let's not fight here.
Go ahead.
Rajdeep, this started with Mr. Ahmed Patel's election. Rajya Sabha did not normally witness such scenarios where people are being put in, and it's not a happy visual when it comes on television. Whichever party does it, nobody likes it. As Sachin rightly said, this is not what we would like to do. But yatha raja tatha praja, bhai hum to praja hain. Hamare raja, ये शाह और शहनशाह, ये जिस तरह की संस्कृति लाए हैं इस देश में, अब हमें भी उसी संस्कृति में उनको जवाब देना
है। आप डायरेक्ट पवन खेरा, you are making a direct accusation claiming that the BJP is using money power to try and bribe MLAs, induce them to cross vote, right? Is that that's what you're saying? Gaurav Bhatia says your MLAs are discontent, they want to leave your party, the BJP is aiding them. Where is the proof of the money?
Then why has the BJP put their MLAs in Rajasthan in a resort? Are they also amenable to allurements? What is this strange accusation? It can't be one-sided, no? And in the case of Mr. Ahmed Patel, I have spoken to some of these MLAs, Congress MLAs, because I'm in charge of media in Gujarat. There was a risk of some of them getting kidnapped. Using state machinery, they were trying to kidnap Congress MLAs. Forget allurements, forget agencies, active physical kidnapping of MLAs. So Rajdeep, you have no right to ask me.
One minute. You are accusing the BJP in Gujarat. The Home Minister comes from Gujarat. The Prime Minister comes from Gujarat. You are saying that there were attempts made to kidnap your MLAs?
Absolutely. There was an absolute clear risk of our MLAs getting physically picked up, kidnapped. So you cannot blame us if we put them in a resort safely somewhere. It's for their own safety.
Can I respond?
We can't have our MLAs getting kidnapped for one Rajya Sabha seat. Now tell me, Rajdeep, yesterday, Mr. Subhash Chandra very proudly says, हमने तो 6 MLA ले लिए कांग्रेस के. आज ईडी क्यों नहीं गई उनके घर पे सुबह-सुबह? This is a clear case of somebody boasting कि मैंने तो कर लिया इंतजाम तो कैसे किया होगा बताइए? हॉर्स ट्रेडिंग से ही तो किया होगा. जाना चाहिए था ना एजेंसीज को, क्यों नहीं गए एजेंसीज? There is the clear patronage of the Prime Minister.
No, these are very serious charges which, cannot be made lightly. But Gaurav Bhatia, you deserve a response to that. You're being accused that you all are using not just agencies, but there was an attempt made to physically kidnap Congress MLAs during Gujarat elections. I can tell you about MLAs telling me that the agencies had knocked on their doors before those Rajya Sabha polls in that state in 2017. The truth is Sam Dam Danda Bhed. Why not accept it? This is not the party of Deen Dayal Upadhyay or Atal Bihari Vajpayee. It's fine. Accept it, Gaurav Bhatia. That's politics. Why don't you tell Pawan Kheda that we are today in power and we will use power?
So Rajdeep, first of all, this is the party of Shri Narendra Modi ji, JP Nadda ji, Amit Shah ji. The standards have been raised further. And I think the numbers speak for themselves. The blessings of the people with the BJP election results are a testimony to that. My friend said both of us will be in the Rajya Sabha someday together. Pawanji, God willing, we want to serve the country, but I am sure there is a possibility कि आपकी तपस्या का प्रसाद भारतीय जनता पार्टी में मिले और एक ही पार्टी से दोनों राज्य सभा जाएं. You never know. But now coming to the points he raised, Pawan Bhai needs to answer this. Pawan Bhai, I asked you a very simple question. 6 MLAs of the BSP, they defected. The constitution doesn't permit it. Read the 10th schedule. Merger of the original political party is permitted. The BSP still exists. But those have been coined as the Congress MLAs. So you started with this dirty game. Second, Rajasthan, I told you were short by 15 MLAs. Why are you fielding an extra candidate there? In Maharashtra, you were short by 27 votes. Why are you fielding an extra candidate there? And very simple. Rajdeep, look at the confusion. First of all, their MLAs in Haryana are missing 1, 2. AIMIM and Samajwadi Party both have said that Congress and the Maha Vikas Agadi have not even reached out to them. So, they want to be complacent, their leader wants to be abroad, then they want to blame the Bharatiya Janata Party. I don't think, in today's politics, you can afford to be so complacent. And in the end, Ahmed Patel's election, Rajdeep, let me remind you something. The Election Commission of India very fairly disqualified the MLAs who had revealed their vote. But at that time, Sonia Gandhi said Election Commission is very good. Later, the EVMs and the Election Commission of India became bad. Why this hypocrisy? If the constitutional agency gives a decision in your favor, it's very good. Everything is good. Democracy is surviving. If they give a decision against you, democracy is in danger. This is the double standard of the Congress party.
I will give you Pawan. I will give you Pawan Kheda a final word. What effectively Gaurav Bhatia is saying, if you can't get your own house in order, don't blame us. We are the party of power. People are electing us.
No, so फिर इनको कहिए कि resort खोल दें अपना जयपुर वाला हटा दें MLAs को जाने दें. What are they afraid of? Because their house is also not in order. There are 5 groups.
आप रायपुर वाला तो खोलिए.
नहीं, बीच में नहीं. Please don't. Now, since he continues to misuse the acronym for Maha Vikas Agadi, so their Bharat Jalao party has been doing this for the last 8 years. Karnataka, Meghalaya, Manipur, Goa, Arunachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh. Wherever they lost elections, they still tried to form governments by selling and buying MLAs. So this is the Shah Shahenshah Jodi. I thought the party didn't belong to just 3 of them. हमारी पार्टी तो मेरी भी है. मैं तो नहीं कहता कि सोनिया जी और राहुल जी की पार्टी है. मेरी पार्टी है. देखिए इनको कितना डर है गौरव भाटिया को. यह पार्टी नरेंद्र मोदी जी की, नड्डा जी की और अमित शाह की है. क्यों साहब, आपकी नहीं है? तो पहले तो भारत जलाओ पार्टी को अपना बताओ कि ये भारत जलाओ पार्टी मेरी है. बोलिए ना, हिम्मत दिखाइए ना. कोई आपको पनिशमेंट नहीं देगा ये बोलने की. हमारी पार्टी ने यह सभ्यता नहीं शुरू की. यह संस्कृति आप लोगों ने. You started this culture.
This is what
you
about
started this culture. You started it in Goa. You know how much they spent in Goa.
BSP MLAs.
Ask any. You are from Goa, Rajdeep. You know how much they spent in the previous election in Goa. After losing the election, how much did they spend there? You know how much they spent in Karnataka, in Madhya Pradesh, in Rajasthan. They tried their best. Of course, they lost their money. So this is the kind of culture, and now this culture will bite them. आज ये बहुत ऊपर घोड़े पे सवार होकर घूम रहे हैं. यह कल्चर इन्हीं को तबाह करेगा, भारत जलाओ पार्टी को. ये मैं आपको लिख कर दे सकता हूं.
Bharat Jalao Party versus Maha Vasuli Agadi. Either way, what has happened is the so-called House of Elders in this country now seems to be tied into the growing influence of money power at elections time. I wish both you, Pawan Khera and Gaurav Bhatia, the very best, that both of you go into the Rajya Sabha. And I look forward to having you there as well. Both of your tapasyas will be fulfilled. For now, for joining me on the show, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let me turn from there to the other big story we've been tracking, because India overnight has now reported a 41% rise in daily COVID-19 cases. Maharashtra once again is recording a high number of fresh COVID cases. The positivity rate has increased substantially in 6 districts. While the cases rise, the administration is pushing the booster dose drive. So far, over 29 lakh people have been administered the precautionary dose. But despite the government earlier planning to have mandatory masking, it doesn't seem to be working on the ground. Is Maharashtra heading for a 4th wave, as some are suggesting? That's what is the big question. Should there be fresh curbs, mandatory masking now? Joining me now is Dr. Rahul Pandit, Maharashtra's COVID-19 task force member. Appreciate your joining us, Dr. Pandit. How seriously are you seeing this? Are we heading, as some are saying, into a potential 4th wave?
Good evening, Rajdeep. I think it's a play of words, if I could say, whether you call it 4th wave or you call it rapidly rising cases. There is no doubt about it that the cases have, as the graph is shown on the screen right now, the cases have increased indeed quite rapidly in the last 7 days. What we need to look at in the post-Omicron era, and I've been repeatedly saying this, is yes, test positivity rate is one way of looking at it, but the better way of looking at it would be, are we actually seeing patients who are requiring hospitalization? Are we actually seeing patients requiring oxygen or ICU beds? Fortunately, none of that is at the moment seen on the ground. For example, my hospital, I have only one COVID patient currently. Most hospitals in the city are not seeing a large number of COVID patients. And even the tally, if you look at it, majority of them are asymptomatic or mildly symptomatic. As the testing increased yesterday in Maharashtra, in Mumbai specifically, we did around 19,000 tests as opposed to an average of around 7,500-8,000 tests, which we were doing for the last so many weeks. The numbers have obviously increased. That means that at the background, there were a lot of patients who were positive, probably, but were not having symptoms. And then as we collected the contacts and we started testing them, we are having higher numbers come across, which is good because we can isolate them, but it doesn't actually reflect the picture on the ground in terms of hospitalizations.
So what you're saying is hospitalizations are low. You're saying most of the cases that are coming are asymptomatic. Therefore, it would be premature in any form to call it a 4th wave. Most of these remain Omicron. There is no new variant out there. At best, there is a sub-variant.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Absolutely correct. The last genome sequencing reports, whichever have come in the last few weeks, they have shown either BA1, BA2 or the BA4, BA5 subvariant, which you rightly said. And all of them have behaved more or less in a similar fashion with mild upper respiratory tract symptoms and some fever. So, and that is also very short-lived illness, few days, and patients are getting better on their own.
The reason, of course, that people are worried is that a few days ago, the Maharashtra government seemed to suggest that masking would be once again mandatory. Now the government seems to not be very clear about that, or certainly not enforcing it on the ground. Are you saying that there is no reason for masking in public, to make mandatory masking in public once again? Is it necessary to have mandatory masking in public once again or not?
So the task force has always said, even when the numbers were low, that in indoor spaces where the air ventilation is poor, where the air circulation is poor, like you are in an auditorium or you're in an office space, you should be wearing a mask. which would help you as a health habit. We've always maintained that you make a health habit. I've said this on national TV before, I'll repeat it again. Just like when we cross the road, we look on our right, we look on our left for our own safety, and then we cross the road. And government has not made that mandatory. Similarly, mask indoors, in the indoor space, there should not be a mandatory thing, but should be a voluntary health habit. Whether the government wishes to enforce that as a compulsory thing or not, it's an administrative decision which government can take. But from my point of view as a doctor, I think it should remain as a health habit, because COVID has not gone anywhere. It should just come automatically to us, just as a natural thing to put on as soon as we enter indoors, where the air ventilation starts becoming poor.
Are you asking for any other precautions beyond that at the moment, in terms of social distancing, in terms of maybe once again reviewing some of the opening up of swimming pools, of commuter trains, buses? Any change at all? Or is the general feeling now that this is effectively slowly becoming almost like an epidemic? So it at best people will get mild infections, take the odd tablet and move on after 3 or 4 days of fever?
So we need to keep an eye on how these cases, which have suddenly increased in the last 7 days, actually show up in the next 7 days, because we know that if the symptoms have to worsen, they worsen in the second week, not in the first week. That's the first thing. But more importantly, the logic should be that we should be learning to live with COVID. Our day-to-day activities should not be hampered. If I would say that in Mumbai you should do a strict social distancing, it would not be practically possible. People would not be able to step out of their houses. So I think what is best is that you actually wear a mask whenever you have crowded congregations or indoor spaces. You try and do as much as you can for your own safety, but continue with your day-to-day activity with full caution and vigilance. Right.
So we are not very quickly going back to what we were in January when the Omicron wave struck, right? We believe that this is not a fourth wave.
At the moment, we need to see how things pan up over the next week or so. That's what we actually have said, that we will review the situation on a day-to-day basis and take up a call.
Okay. Dr. Pandit, as always, appreciate your joining us and sort of informing our viewers. Good to have doctors who are so clear with their thoughts. Thanks very much, Dr. Pandit from the Maharashtra COVID Task Force joining me. Let's turn from Maharashtra to Karnataka, where the politicians may be busy with what they are calling knicker or chaddi politics. But we want to focus on what is something that should concern every citizen in any metro of the country, especially as the monsoon approaches. Pothole menace in Bengaluru. It's claimed lives in the past, and yet little seems to change. In fact, commuters who are now taking the Bengaluru-Mysore road say they are facing a massive problem because the roads are once again filled with potholes. Some of these images are simply shocking. This is India in the 21st century. Take a look.
The countless potholes of Bengaluru. India's IT city is crumbling day by day as the rulers get busy with more important issues like, you guessed it right, chaddi politics. Commuters travelling on the Bengaluru-Mysuru road navigate these potholes, dodging danger day in, day out. These images capture the road ridden with potholes which bears semblance to the lunar surface. A complete nightmare to riders and commuters. Despite several complaints, the BBMP has not repaired the stretch of potholes on the road. That is when India Today hit the roads and forced the powers that be out of their slumber. Road rollers and JCBs jumped into action to level the road after our continuous coverage. While there is no end to civic apathy in Karnataka, which goes into elections next year, the ruling BJP and opposition Congress are involved in a raging chaddi war.
ಎದುರುಗಡೆ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಚಡ್ಡಿ ಸುಟ್ಟಿರೋದು ಪೊಲೀಸ್ನವ್ರು ಎದುರುಗಡೆ ನಾ ಸುಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ಚಡ್ಡಿ ಸುಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಪ್ಪ ಒಂದು ಹೇಳ್ರಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ನವ್ರು ಇದ್ರು ಪೊಲೀಸ್ನವ್ರು ಎದುರುಗಡೆ ಚಡ್ಡಿ ಸುಟ್ಟಿರೋದು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಒಂದ್ ವೇಳೆ ಅವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ರಮ ತಗೊಳ್ಳದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಚಡ್ಡಿ ಸುಡೋದೇ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು
ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯ he doesn't have any other subject, so he is talking about such things, and people of Karnataka are looking into all these things. We have to talk about Karnataka development, production, future of Karnataka. I think some good sense would prevail on him.
The misplaced priorities of politicians is evident when Chaddi is the priority and not roads. Bureau Report, India Today.
Potholes will remain a perennial problem till we fix the holes in our heads sometimes. Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll bring you our good news story. Finally, we might have a cure for cancer. We'll tell you more on the latest miracle cure. That's on the other side. You're watching the news today. News without the noise.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com or call 9999892171. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Hours after the assassination of Sidhu Moosewala, India Today broke the news about the biggest lead being Lawrence Bishnoi. And now 10 days after the killing of the pop superstar, the Delhi police confirms what India Today reported first. We've got all the details and we'll be laying them bare for you on India First at 10 p.m.
Welcome back. Let's turn to another story, which is really the shocking story of the day. It comes from Lucknow. An angry teenager boy shot his mother dead because he was barred from playing PUBG, the video game. That's right. Preliminary probe reveals that he was just angry at his mother's constant interjection with activities. He used his father's pistol to shoot his mother. Take a look.
Addicted to PUBG and social media, a 16-year-old boy in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, shot his mother dead. The reason? His mother would stop him from playing the video game. Details of this game of death are chilling. The minor boy shot his mother using his army man father's pistol. He used a room freshener to hide the stench of the dead body for 2 days. After killing his mother, the 16-year-old called 2 of his friends to his house, ordered egg curry online, and watched the movie Fukre. When his friends inquired about his mother, he said she was at his aunt's place.
जो इसका रूटीन होता है वो नॉर्मल जो रेगुलर रूटीन होता है वही फॉलो करता है. सुबह जाता है क्रिकेट खेलने, फ्रेंड्स के साथ जाता है, हैंग आउट करता है, बाहर जाता है, फिर आता है, शाम को आता है, कुछ फ्रेंड्स को लेकर के आता है, रात को ये लोग पार्टी करते हैं, मूवीज़ देखते हैं. तो ऐसा कुछ इस तरह से इसने किसी और को शक नहीं होने दिया कि इस तरह कोई घटना हुई है.
Police say the 16-year-old also threatened his younger sister. He locked her up as he stepped out the morning after killing his mother. acting as if nothing had happened. And while he fabricated the story about an electrician killing his mother, he later confessed to the murder.
लड़का एक स्टोरी बताता है कि एक इलेक्ट्रीशियन था जो कि क्योंकि वो मकान अभी बन रहा था, अर्धनिर्मित था, कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्क चल रहा था, तो उनमें वायरिंग का काम होता था। तो कहता था कि वो इलेक्ट्रीशियन जो है वो आता था और उससे संपर्क में थी, और जब ये इलेक्ट्रीशियन से कुछ बहस हुई और उस इलेक्ट्रीशियन ने आवेश में आकर के माँ को गोली मार दिया। जो लड़का जो स्टोरी बता रहा था उसमें कुछ लूपहोल्स मिले, उसके जो मोबाइल चेक किया गया उसमें कुछ चीज़ें ऐसी मिली जिससे कि शक की सुई उसकी तरफ गई, और फिर जो बच्ची थी उसको कॉन्फिडेंस पे लेकर के पूछा गया तो बच्ची फिर टूट गई। फिर बच्ची ने कुछ चीज़ें बताई और फिर फाइनली जब लड़के से फिर कन्फ्रंट किया गया तो लड़के ने फिर कन्फेस किया।
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं था, बस ये था कि थोड़ा घुलता मिलता नहीं था किसी से बहुत ज़्यादा, बस ये था कि जिसको जानता पहचानता था बस उससे ही बातचीत।
भी आए थे इसके यहाँ पार्टी करने, उनसे बातचीत
पार्टी करने नहीं आए थे, और बच्चों को ऐसा कुछ नहीं था। जो आए भी थे वो अपने किसी दोस्त को बुलाया था, लेकिन वो उन लोगों से इसका कोई मतलब नहीं।
Gaming addiction in children can impact their physical and mental health. And like in this case, digital addiction can be very deadly. Bureau Report, India Today.
Dangerous portents, particularly for parenting, and indeed what our youngsters are up to today. Well, some of our youngsters have another big problem, the job crisis. Today's Get Real India story comes from Gujarat, where 18 lakh people, that's right, 18 lakh people have applied for a job that needs only class 12 pass, and barely a few hundred jobs are available. Here's our Get Real India story.
$3,400 job vacancies, 18 lakh applicants, and engineers, doctors, postgraduates are in the race for the jobs. The rush is not for white-collar jobs, but for the post of Talati or village panchayat secretary in Gujarat. The minimum qualification for the village position is class 12th, but in the line is Tejaswi, who had completed a BE in electrical engineering in 2019.
No, I have any job in electrical engineering, so I switched my my all education qualification to in another field. So I choose government job preparation. I don't have any government job still. I am so unhappy because of government.
Mayur Patel is yet another highly qualified applicant. An electronics and communications engineer, he has been hunting for a job since 2017.
2017 में मेरा इंजीनियरिंग कंप्लीट हुआ तो मैंने देखा कि मुझे मैक्सिमम सैलरी कैसे मिल सकती है और मेरे को आउट ऑफ स्टेट ना जाना पड़े। तो मेरे फील्ड ओरिएंटेड जो भी मैंने कंपनी से वहाँ पर मैंने देखा तो मुझे इतनी सैलरी नहीं मिल रही थी, मुझे जल्दी से जॉब चाहिए थी। उसकी वजह से मैंने अपनी फील्ड छोड़ के ये गवर्नमेंट एग्जाम की प्रिपरेशन की फील्ड में मैं आया।
Gujarat is touted as a highly developed and industrialized state, but student leader युवराज सिंह जडेजा thinks otherwise.
ये गुजरात की सबसे लो कैडर की पोस्ट है। गुजरात की सबसे लो कैडर की पोस्ट है। उसका जो बेसिक पे स्केल है वो भी सबसे नीचे का स्तर वाला है, और यहाँ का जो पे स्केल है उसका वो है 19,000 के लिए इतने सारे लोगों ने एप्लीकेशन किया है। तो आप जान सकते हैं कि गुजरात में बेरोजगारी कितनी है। ये बेरोजगारी का रियलिटी है, ये रियलिटी मॉडल, गुजरात का रियलिटी मॉडल यही है कि यहाँ पे बेरोजगारी बहुत ज्यादा है।
With the state heading for elections this year, the issue of unemployment is bound to become an issue. The Gujarat government has recently announced 90,000 jobs and says all is well. But the unending queue for a job in a panchayat office shows the gravity of the employment crisis. With Saurabh Bakhtania in Ahmedabad, Bureau Report, India Today.
And trust me, this is not just about Gujarat. In case people think why only a BJP-ruled state, it could just as well be a story from Congress-ruled Rajasthan. Let's turn to good news today. Can a drug now erase cancer cells from a patient's body? It's not an easy question to answer, but a small clinical trial has lent hope to millions of cancer patients around the world. Sneha Mordani brings you today's good news story.
Imagine popping a pill and curing cancer. Sounds like a distant medical dream, a miracle. But a miracle could be on the horizon. A small clinical trial involving 18 patients suffering from cancer has shown that a drug has wiped off the disease from their bodies. The drug, dostarlimab, manufactured by GlaxoSmithKline, was administered to the small group. In 6 months, all of the patients were cancer-free.
Especially in rectal cancers, where many patients have maybe there's a need for a surgery and there's a need for either a temporary or permanent colostomy. I think this medicine will really be encouraging, and it will be a great news for all those patients who require a permanent stoma, where without the need of surgery, most of the patients can get rid of cancer.
The patients who were given this drug would otherwise be subject to difficult and traditional therapies like chemotherapy, radiation, or would also have to undergo surgery, which could lead to discomfort as far as the bowel movements is concerned, could lead to urinary problems as well, and also sexual dysfunction. The use of colostomy bags has also been ruled out after the use of this drug. This is unheard of, a miracle in every sense of the word. But the study size is small and much more data is needed.
You need to wait and watch for further trials with this drug rather than just spread this news for small patients like a fire and creating a kind of what I would say is a misconception amongst the cancer patients and a false sense of hope. I hope this drug does what it has proved in this small trial.
A disease first believed to be seen in ancient Egypt has plagued mankind for hundreds of years, killing millions world over, could just have a potential cure. In New Delhi, Sneha Mordani for India Today.
Fingers crossed, cautious optimism. Let's leave you with our image of the day. It comes from the city of joy, from Kolkata, where a youth organization called Bee Garden Buskers asked people to come together to pay a musical tribute to the singer KK at the Rabindra Sangeet at the very spot where KK was given a gun salute in Kolkata. Listen to that. You stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubhratri. Bye for now.
The men and women who built Indian industry, and the young guns who are shaping tomorrow's India. From storied careers to unicorn dreams, the past meets the future on the Business Today show with Udayan Mukherjee.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching it.